Jim Frischling of NewOak Capital is with us on set right now, and also Jerry Willis, host of the Willis Report right here on Fox Business, to talk about this issue, the fiscal cliff. And first, Jim, to you, your reaction to what you heard from the president. You feel any better now that he's spoken?
Not feeling much better, to tell you the truth, and I have a pen too. I did not hear compromise, and actually, I kind of have to respectfully disagree. I think the American people are overwhelmingly calling for a compromise, and in fact, I think the Republicans have made the first move to put spending cuts back on the table, or are on the table. And what I'm not hearing about, the Republicans on the tax hikes and the raising of revenues, I'm not hearing the other side now talking about the necessary spending cuts, and they really do have to go hand in hand. And I think the president and the Democrats right now are feeling very emboldened by the election results, and I understand that. But if they're not prepared to put spending cuts and entitlements on the table, we actually could trip this up, and this would be an absolutely self-inflicted wound. And we all know, and I don't think there's any disagreement on how bad this could get if we do trip the fiscal cliff.
Jerry, I seem to remember President Obama earlier on, a year or two ago, calling on America to take up arms and call for tax increases on the rich, only end up extending those butch tax cuts for another year. Do you get the feeling that Americans are clamoring for tax increases on people who earn more than $200,000 a year?
I don't think so. And I certainly don't think the people who create the jobs in this country are clamoring for higher taxes. And that's just the problem. The president said this isn't about the numbers. Of course it's about the numbers. And you know what number it's most about is GDP, the growth of this economy. The more taxes you pile on this country, the worse the economy is going to do. And that is the real problem that he just seems to avoid and not think about. It is clear that higher taxes means less spending by the people that you rely on to make this economy go.
It's interesting you say that, Jerry, because in Jim's mind, from an investment perspective, you think that if we do go off the cliff, no deal, you're saying a 1.5% hit to GDP, and you're basing that on what Jerry's talking about, and that's consumer spending.
And that's right. I mean, I think the consumer has been the driver of this, albeit modest recovery, but a driver of our ability to kind of continue to at least rebuild and strengthen. And I also think home prices specifically, or the recovery in the housing market, has been one of the drivers of that consumer feeling more emboldened. Their asset, their home, is appreciating somewhat. So I think there's a good story here that could be really derailed. And we're not calling for that. We are expecting a compromise, but I'm telling you, when I listen to the president and his position, I'm not hearing a lot of that. He's cherry-picking one thing.
With the music at the end of it, too.
Jerry, you know, if they raise taxes on people who earn more than $200,000 a year, we bring in $80 billion more every year. But we have $1 trillion deficit every year. Why did we get so hung up on $80 out of 1,000?
We're stuck on stupid at this point. That's my analysis of the situation. You know, we cannot come to the right answer. And it's frankly my observation that people in Washington do not understand the economy. They don't know how it works. They make a lot of guesses. And at the end of the day, they come up with a policy that isn't good for the American people. And I think the American people understand what's good for them at the end of the day. Look, my analysis of this and what you see in the media right now is that it's completely misread the impact of the fiscal cliff. What you see personal finance writers and even some financial advisors saying is, look, don't worry about the fiscal cliff. It doesn't mean much at all.
Frustrating.
It's not important. Yes, it is. It is absolutely important. It's going to cost you money. It may cost you jobs. We could see the GDP fall off the cliff, go back into recession, the loss of 710,000 to 2 million jobs, depending on who you believe.
All right. We're stuck on stupid. Thank you, Jerry Willis, and thank you, Jim Frischling, for being with us.
Thank you.
And you can